This is a TalkStation original podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Paper Boys podcast. I'm JJ Smith.
And I'm Zach Nally.
We're joined in the studio by Charles Hassell, better known to people in Carter County as Pud. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
I guess we should start right off the bat with this. How does one become known as Pud?
Oh, my goodness. Well, my grandfather and my older sister conspired to call me Puddinhead when I was a little...
Tell me you're from the South without telling me you're from the South, right?
When I was a little kid, and it somehow got shortened, and there were so many men named Charles in my family that everybody had to have some other name. And I ended up getting stuck with that one.
It's funny you say Puddinhead because I've heard a lot of people over the years call you Pud instead of Pud.
Well, that's the way they say it in Carter County.
Yeah.
Judge Smith pronounced it differently, and you don't tell him.
You don't correct Dean Smith.
Correct Dean Smith.
Well, Pud or Pud, however you want to call him, played on those legendary Beaufort Seadogs basketball teams back in the late 50s and early 60s, and they were kind of a big deal. And if you wonder why they were such a big deal, well, they won 3 straight state championships, 59, 60, and 61. And even more impressive, they won 91 consecutive games in a row. That was a state record at the time, and 65-ish years later, that is still a state record. Does that surprise you that it's held up for 65-plus years?
Yes and no. I mean...
It's a lot of games.
3 years, you're bound to...
Yeah.
And we had some close ones.
Yeah.
A few.
Yeah. I thought it, people who keep up with such stuff thought it might come to an end this year. I don't know if you've kept up with Reedsville and what they've been doing over the past few years, but they had this incredible duo, Kendrick Harrison and Deontay Neal. I could spend the next 30 minutes talking about what they accomplished, but Deontay Neal is like a 2-time Gatorade State Player of the Year in basketball. Harrison was the Gatorade Player of the Year in the state in football. Neal is the only player in North Carolina history to have 1,000 assists.
We've talked about that. You need something generational to come along to create that kind of continuity.
For sure. And they went to 3 state championships in football, won 2. They went to 3 state championships in basketball, won 2. Anyway, they only lost 1. They started all 4 years and everything. They lost 1 game in their freshman year, but then sophomore year they went 29-0, and then junior year they went 31-0. So they were up to 60, and people in the state were like, "Oh, that Seadog record might be in trouble senior year. They got 60 if they play about 30 games." But Harrison was he's a like top 5 tight end in the country and a top 25 guy. So he enrolled early, as they do now, at Oregon to play football, and so didn't play basketball this year. And they lost the 4th game of the year to Washington, actually.
Wow. And
so, and as it turned out, they only played 25 games this year, and they lost that game to Washington. Then didn't lose again to the state championship, so only lost 2 games. So if he'd have played, they probably would have won all of them. But they only played 25 games, so the Seadogs would have been safe. They'd have got to 85. So 91 is unbelievable. At the time, I always thought that was the record of the country, but apparently this team in New Jersey, Passaic, from 1919 to 1925, had the record 159 consecutive games. Do you have any guess of where you all rank in the country at right now, 65-something years later?
I believe I heard that there were now 2 or 3 in between us and Passaic, New Jersey.
Yeah.
Passaic, New Jersey had to be peach basket time.
in the 20s, right?
Right.
How about it?
I thought that was... Well, I said, wait a minute, Naismith wasn't even born yet, was it? But,
was that basketball, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I looked at that last night, and you all were 3rd for a very long time up until the 80s. The 80s and 90s have pushed you all down. Now you're 10th overall.
Hey.
Still.
Yeah.
65 years and you're 10th.
That's right.
Oh, that's pretty wild.
We still got a couple of state records.
Well, what do you think about? What's the first thing that pops in your mind when you think back of those 3 straight state championships and that 91-game winning streak?
Well, I remember the last one, which was my senior year in high school, and my last game. When it was over, feeling a relief.
Yeah.
It wasn't us. It didn't happen to us. Y'all gonna have to take it from here. We got through.
Had the pressure kind of built up?
Well, we've often talked about it, and we didn't really feel any pressure as we were going through it.
Okay.
We thought we were going to win every time.
Yeah.
Nobody was uptight.
Okay.
We had a couple of close games, but we pulled them out, and then the next game we were ready to roll again. It was one game at a time, really, as we were going through it. And it was all over. We looked, God, we didn't lose one.
Oh, wow.
That kind of thing.
Just surprised you.
Sort of.
Yeah. So there wasn't this heaviness going into every game. It was, we got to keep this going.
No, nobody talked about it.
Okay. Kind of like a perfect game in baseball. You don't talk to the pitcher, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so you were part of 59 and 60, is that right? The championships? You didn't win
59, 60, and 61.
Oh, you were on all three.
I started on all three of them.
Started on all three. Man. Not many people. Of that group, how many won all three? I remember Chuck was on all three, wasn't he? Chuck
was
Lewis.
on all four. They talk about if you want to do the 62 team that had won 15 in a row before they got beat.
Okay.
So he said he was on all four of them. I didn't remember.
Well, I thought you were going to say football. They won the football state championship.
Chuck was on the football team.
Yeah, so he won four. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you and Chuck, I wonder if was there anybody else that was on all three? 59, 60, and 61 state champions basketball teams? Or was that it? Just
maybe
you two?
David.
Okay.
Maybe David Jones was on it.
So that's a select few.
I don't remember David playing much when he's in my class when we were sophomores, but he probably was on the team.
Okay.
But when he was a junior and senior, he got bigger and stronger and faster.
Yeah.
And he was a very important part of those two teams.
I've written a number of stories over the years on the Seadogs. I love the nostalgia and just the antiquated and the quaintness of that time and period. I remember, and I think you quoted both these things when I wrote one time about how just the way it took the town by storm. And what was it? It was a local barber said you could get free haircuts as long as you kept winning.
Yeah, it was Bobby Martin.
Uh-huh.
And he had been an athlete, baseball player and football player growing up, and he had a barbershop right on the corner near my house, and he knew us all, and he said, well, as long as you boys keep winning, I'll give you haircuts. I didn't think it was going to be 3 years.
Sure.
You about broke him, didn't you?
Yeah, and there was a woman named Lily, and I don't remember Lily's last name, bless her heart, who had a burger joint, the Snack Grill, and I believe was the name of it. And she told us, she said, you boys keep winning, you come on out here on Monday nights and I'll give you a hamburger.
How about that?
So we about broke her too.
You were breaking businesses all over Beaufort, weren't you?
Well, and I think people fail to we have state title runs and state title teams and stuff like that here now, but the town doesn't come. Well, sure, I know, not like that. I get
not
that.
Like that, yeah.
But even a regular standalone state title, like that first one, you
right.
go back and you look at photos and the way that the town came together around y'all. I mean,
they shut the town down.
Yeah, didn't they send y'all off on a bus and everything too? I mean,
no, we went on. We traveled in station wagons then, teams, but the town, high school kids and townspeople chartered a bus.
Okay, maybe that's what I'm saying.
To follow you.
Bill Taylor was a bus driver. He had two kids that were in school with us, and he was a bus driver, and they chartered a bus or two buses to take townspeople and students to wherever we were playing.
And I've seen the photos. I mean, there's a throng of people around these buses, signs, and
there weren't many people left in Beaufort, I bet.
No, I not.
And when we would come back, west of here, out where the racetrack was.
Oh, in Morehead City.
The Kmart now.
The people would be starting to line up, and they'd line up, and we'd drive through, and people were cheering and drive to the high school and get out and have an assembly in the school auditorium. Did it 3 years in a row.
What a time to be a part of athletics in Carteret County.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Really.
I mean, you got burgers and haircuts. Quade got a car, I think, right?
Yes, he did. He got a new car.
Yeah, talk about boosters making before that was before NIL, right?
Certainly was.
They sure, and because he went to the school and said Coach Tom McQuaid, who was y'all's legendary coach, said he wasn't making enough money, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was an interesting guy. He was very much a taskmaster. He was very strict with us. He had all kinds of rules. He had a rule that once we got into the playoffs, he said, you need to stop this socializing, so you got to quit dating.
No.
So we didn't have, there was no male-female socializing once we got into the playoffs.
Wow.
Unless you already had one, of course, right? No, but no dates, right?
He didn't. But it was a big problem for Chuck because he and Claudia were close from the time they were teenagers.
How
So
about that?
he had to be careful.
So that streak started on December the 4th, 1958. You started that season with a 67-40 win over Pamlico. And the next time they lost was February the 16th, 1962. That's incredible.
Yeah.
I bet the boys that lost that game felt bad.
Yeah. They did. Poor Alton missed a free throw, and
Oh, is that what it was?
We were walking downtown one time in recent years when he was living on Turner Street, and somebody rode by in a car and said, "There's that son of a that missed the free throw."
No! Well, we ask athletes and coaches all the time, right? Or do they remember the wins or the big moments? And, those moments where you fall just a little short, they stick in the memory.
That's the ones that stand out in the loss.
But, I mean, it follows a long run of success.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's fine.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
He laughed about it.
Yeah.
Who was that lost to?
Moorhead.
Oh, of all the teams to lose
All
to.
teams.
Oh, the rival.
Not across the bridge.
Yeah. Yeah. Who was the toughest teams you played during that streak, especially locally?
Smyrna. Smyrna was really good. A guy named Kurt Nelson and Dale Lewis were exceptional athletes. Jimmy Parkins was their coach, and he had been one of Coach McQuaid's players in the late 40s or early 50s.
McQuaid came from Smyrna, right? Or
No.
Where didn't he spend some time coaching somewhere else other than before he got to Beaufort?
I don't think so.
Okay.
He came to Beaufort in 35 and
Oh, wow.
coached a few years and then went into service and was in the war.
That's right.
And then came back. And he coached here until and then he went to East Carteret after the school closed. He coached there a couple of years, and then he went down to Southern Pines to one of the schools in that part of the state and coached for a couple of years before he retired. He was really ahead of his time. He spent a lot of time studying the game. He went to New York to Camp All-American at New York Military Academy, basketball school in the summers led by some of the great coaches at NYU and LIU. Their names are not coming to me now.
I think one time y'all said Claire B, maybe?
Claire B, and a guy named, they called him Doggy Julian, who was who coached in what became the Big East, that area.
Okay.
And learned a lot of stuff. And he would come back every year with new things to teach and new gimmicks. He was the first one to have one of those contraptions you put over the rim so that the ball wouldn't go in. So you get more rebounds to practice rebounding. And he bought some of the glasses with the bottoms blacked out so you couldn't see the ball when you were doing your dribbling drill.
I've never heard of these things. Like the glasses, I didn't think you could put. Yeah, I mean that's a great way to work on rebounding. Wow.
And he ran into a coach that was also working on staff up in Camp All-American one summer, who was coaching at West Virginia Tech, I remember, and he had 4 or 5 different kinds of zone presses, half court and full court zone presses, and Coach McQuaid got really smitten with all that he learned. He came back and he was going to put all that stuff in. The problem was He couldn't do that. We didn't have time. We had a football game on the last football game on a Friday night, and we had a basketball game the following Tuesday.
Because you were so good in football.
And nobody's feet were in shape to be able to learn how to do all those, practice all of those presses, and so we had to gradually work into it. So he was mad about that.
Hank Iba was another coach. That
Right.
Did camps with, yeah. And Pud went on to play at Carolina. Ray Hassell went on to play at Carolina. Butch Hassell, all these Hassell boys went on to play at Wake Forest. And I remember you all saying nothing you all ran across in college was any surprise to you after being under Tom McQuaid, that he had taught you anything you wanted to learn about basketball.
Yeah, we knew about pressure defense. We knew about drop it. One pass away from the ball, you drop back. We knew all of that stuff, and deny defense. We knew about that, and of course we had all those different presses. We knew how to press and trap. We didn't do it at the level that you had to do it later, but it wasn't foreign at all.
Well, it sounds like he also ran his program like a college program in the sense of like accountability, being early.
Oh, yeah.
Certain level of work. I mean, I'm sure when y'all went to that next level, you all were ship shape, after playing under him.
Yeah, on time is late. And it was pretty funny.
Well, what was the phrase back in the day? Take it in?
Take it in. That meant get out of here.
Sure.
That's when he got...
If McQuaid said take it in, that was the end of the day.
That was it. You went and got your stuff and
left.
left.
That's the release right there.
Was that how most coaches were, or was he kind of another level when it came to discipline?
Well, he was the only one we ever knew, so we didn't know.
Yeah.
I mean, didn't Alton get quoted saying he still had dreams in his 40s of waking up and being late to the gym? I think that answers your question right there.
That tells you what kind of level.
Excuse me, I just banged a hole in my... He didn't have a great sense of humor.
As they say, he was not a player's coach, huh?
No, he was not. He was not our friend.
No.
But Jimmy Fodry,
to put it lightly, huh?
Jimmy Fodry, on the other hand, was all of the above, and was also one of the people who could do that, who could maintain respect, but also be friendly.
You all have mentioned a lot over the years what he meant to those championship teams in that stretch. What did Jimmy bring to the team as an assistant coach?
Oh, he was amazing. I mean, it was defense in particular. He would say, and we would be scrimmaging, and he would say, he would be guarding somebody bigger than he was. Of course, he wasn't but about 5'9". And he would say out loud, "Score! Score! My man ain't even got the ball yet." So he would play, post defense, prevent post defense, and keep you from getting the ball into the post man. He taught me how to do that. And of course, he was a great player. I mean, during the time that he was coaching us, he was playing in the local industrial leagues, recreational leagues, and averaging 35 points a game. Wow. Playing for the Fry Raiders.
Fry Raiders. Wow.
Fry Roofing Company just across the bridge in Moorhead.
Okay.
In Moorhead.
And he was so crafty. You were telling me about how he would step on your feet.
Yeah, you got a big man, anchor him to the floor.
Whatever works, right?
Yeah.
And you were about, 6'3", 185?
I was 6'3", and when we played, when I was a freshman, we played Duke, and they had a guy that's 7 foot, Hack Tyson, and I had to guard him. So I had to pull out all my foddery tricks, and we did a good job on him. We pretty much shut him down.
Nice. And you said that people were kind of surprised at your post defense being a 6'3" guy in college, and you said, I learned from the best, huh?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jimmy was really good, and then he coached our baseball team, and we were very successful. And he still has some records, I think, with his girls' basketball team.
Softball, yeah, he went 438
and
180. That's the most wins for an active softball coach when he retired.
Yeah.
And we didn't even know that. I mean, we were gone
at
that point. But he had been in our lives intimately, almost from the time we were, 3rd and 4th grade in summer recreation programs all the way through high school.
That's what. Yeah, he was a part of y'all's lives for a long time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when we had the recognition dinner for him, a lot of people came back, and that was the same night that we all got rings. Did anybody ever show you the rings that we had? I meant to bring it with me so I could show it to you. With 391 straight and all that stuff on it, big like World Championship rings, World Series rings.
We didn't get state championship rings back in the day?
No.
That wasn't a thing, huh?
But we decided we'd get one. And
How about that?
We did it at the same time we had the recognition dinner for him.
Yeah.
Fadri's boys.
Fadri's boys. Yeah, that's what we called him.
Because he was like in his late 20s when he was the assistant during those years, right?
He might have been a little older than that.
Okay.
I don't know.
He had left. He had joined the service, came back.
Yeah, same thing as
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So still a relatively young man.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, he was wearing out the local basketball leagues.
Yeah. And you said not only good on defense, but he could shoot the ball.
He could shoot. I mean, and he could shoot from any angle. I've seen him shoot all the time from here, from right almost waist high. It didn't matter. It was the same if he shot it above his head. He was just amazing that way.
And was famous for shooting through the rafters at Beaufort Gym, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Walk in, look around, have his street shoes on and his big heavy coat, walk out, grab a ball, shoot it through the rafters, turn around, walk out the door, and hold up two fingers as it went through the net.
That's awesome.
Steph Curry style.
He definitely seemed like it's great to have that balance between people like Fadri and McQuaid. You kind of need
Good cop,
a little
bad
bit
cop.
of both. That's right. You do. Yeah.
I think he was the one his first one I ever heard call him Smiley.
Okay.
Call McQuaid Smiley. Like calling somebody fat slim. It was
Right.
Privately we all call Coach Smith Smitty, but not to his face.
right. But it wasn't just so much what he meant to you as far as playing y'all and being so good and so tough and so strong and giving y'all somebody bigger, stronger to play against. But you talked about how without him, you wouldn't have played nowhere near as much. He was opening up gyms for you and doing rec leagues and.
Well, the gym was Coach McQuaid's domain. He was he didn't want anybody on that floor if they didn't have on indoor. Never been on the gravel and the dirt basketball shoes, and he didn't really want anybody on it at all. He made them put protective things down if they had a junior senior prom or something like that in there. He didn't want any dances on it, and so nobody got a chance to go into the gym. And Father came and was the recreation director, and he talked him into giving him the keys, and so he started a league where we were allowed to go in that gym. And that was the first top pair of Converse All-Stars that we ever had. They were $7.50, I think.
Yeah, you talked about in previous interviews sort of the resources y'all had over there weren't there was no NIL money coming through. There was no portal funding. It was, I think at one point y'all played at Cherry Point and y'all were looking at the balls with the dimples, talking about, boy, this is a real ball. We've got some. You had some resource shortcomings there.
German Holland, who was on the state championship team in 1955, got a scholarship to Carolina, and he was on the 1957 team that won the national championship. And it was traditional for the college boys and the ones that had played before the current team to come back at Christmas time and come out and scrimmage us. And so that when that crowd came back, they were famous, and we kicked their butts pretty good.
Sure.
But somebody asked German, I remember one time, said, "German, what's the big difference of being at Carolina and playing at Beaufort High School?" He said, "Well, for one thing, my hands never get dirty."
That's right. Your hands get black, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, y'all were worried about catching hepatitis in the shower. I think
We didn't use it.
We didn't go in there.
We didn't use those showers.
No, but it's always, I love to see when people can overcome their funding.
And ours was the best gym in the county.
Oh no!
It was.
Oh, that's terrible.
Oh my gosh!
We've come a long way, haven't we?
There was Smyrna, which is part of a high school auditorium. You could run into the stage.
That's right. They had the
Holy
stage.
cow.
And Atlantic wasn't much different. Newport was tiny. Moorhead was the worst.
Really?
Yeah.
The big city school.
They had a big coal stove in the corner, and it wasn't very far from the court at Moorhead. And when you took the ball out of bounds on the sidelines, there were people behind, sitting right on top of you,
Sure.
pulling on your pants and, pinching your knees, legs, grabbing your shirt. I mean, it was. They had to ration the tickets when Beaufort and Moorhead played. I remember that was a big problem. You couldn't get the people that wanted to see the game.
Well, as somebody who attended Atlantic, I can tell you that the thought of that being a high school gymnasium.
It's the same gym as the one in Newport.
Yeah.
It's the exact same build.
Yeah. It's wild that was a high school gym and people were packed on a Friday night to watch a high school game.
No, I can't imagine.
Yeah, that gymnasium.
Even for elementary school plays.
Which one are you talking about, Smyrna?
Atlantic. How small it was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
From my understanding, the gym in Atlantic was made first.
Yeah, they're the same. You're right.
And then the one in Newport, they're exactly the same type of with the pillars on the sides and all that.
Columns in the
yeah.
And you're right. I forgot about Smyrna with the stage. You could just run right up on the stage if you wanted to, going for a loose ball or something.
Suddenly you're doing Shakespeare.
I had my best game in that little gym
in Smyrna.
Yeah.
Tell me about that game.
The year before, when Butch was a senior, we played him. First time we played him that year was at Beaufort, and it was very close. We were behind with less than a minute to play, and caught and went ahead and won by a bucket or something. And then we played them down there, and it was also a close game. So the next year they thought they were going to get us. Butch was gone, all that. And we went down there and killed them. And I didn't realize it because it wasn't one of those things that just sort of came, but I had scored 37 points.
How about that?
And went, wow, that's good. That's the best team we're going to play all year probably. And and they really were.
Now, what year was that for you?
61 season.
Senior year?
My senior year.
Yeah, 'cause I know you were second leading scorer your sophomore and junior year, and then you were leading scorer your senior year. Yeah. 37 points, not too shabby there.
You mentioned Gurman Holland and Monk Pittman.
Monk Pittman.
That's a good one.
On that 55 team that won the state title. And I know you and Ray and Butch and all those guys that played on the 59s and 60, 61 teams said that they hung the moon, those guys. You all looked up to them because you all were like 7th grade, I guess, 8th grade, 6th grade. That was your goal to become those guys, right?
Exactly. And we thought, we can do that.
Sure, you had seen it done, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we worked at it. Butch lived out in between Beaufort and where the road splits. Not Highland Park, but Glendale Park. And Frank Potter, who was on our 59 team, lived next door. And Frank had a basketball court, and his dad had built a really nice goal with an overhang. Most of them were on a pole, and you didn't have any room to get behind the basket like you would in a gym.
Sure.
And it was really nice, and we wore that yard out. We played and played and played and played in that place, and I think that, because once again, you couldn't get in the gym unless Coach McQuaid was there.
So you had to find a way to...
He made a couple of exceptions.
Sure.
Everybody said Monk Pittman had a set of keys, and Butch always had a set of keys. So beyond that, I don't know that anybody ever did.
Oh, wow. It's funny when you look back at that time and the amazing success y'all had with the 3 straight state championships, the 91-game winning streak, and all these things that contribute. You got Tom McQuaid, who's this legendary coach, and who obviously wasn't just the cycle that came through with that 3 years. When you can win it in 55 and then win in 59, 60, 61, obviously you know what you're doing as a coach. It's not just talent.
He took 5 teams to the state tournament in 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Yeah. So you got Tom McQuaid, you got Jimmy Fodry, who obviously, if you mentioned, was just helping you all learn how to play defense and how to play against someone who was big and tough and strong. And helping you all open up the gym and giving you all a lot more access. You're mentioning this court you were playing on, and how you were able to get more playing time. And then the other thing was when you were real young, like 5th, 6th, 7th grade, Ray and Johnny's father led you all in like a youth.
Ray's father.
Ray's father. I'm sorry. Led you all in like a youth, like an AAU type now, I guess they call it, right?
He called it a midget team.
Okay.
and we played in a league with Swansboro and 2 or 3 teams from Jacksonville, Camp Lejeune. Maybe Moorhead had a team, and we had a tournament, and we won the tournament. And Swansboro at that point, we played our games at the Swansboro gym, and Swansboro was the only gym we ever saw that had glass backboards. First one we'd ever seen. That's how long ago. And you talk about facilities. We had those metal fan
I've seen those.
backboards at Beaufort. And then we didn't have any practice goals. We just had those two metal fan
No goal on the sides.
We didn't have any.
Wow.
And hepatitis showers.
Yeah.
And Ray's dad was apparently kind of like Tom McQuaid in that ahead of his time as far as coaching little kids. You all said you all were running kind of sophisticated stuff as 5th and 6th and 7th graders.
We knew how to run the weave. We knew how to screen. And a few things like that. And practice ball handling drills. And so we did well. We beat all the teams. We were not the team from, what is it? Tarawa Terrace, which is one section of the housing for the servicemen at Camp Lejeune.
Okay.
They had a team, and they had not been beaten, and they were going to win the thing, and we beat them.
Nice.
Well, you've got that phrase, it takes a village. It sounds like a lot of people came together from the time you all were little to the time you were seniors. There was all these different people who had a hand in these championships and this winning streak, huh?
Yeah, and earlier you mentioned the thing about it being a community thing, especially during the tournament. When the tournament would start, well, people would drive to Kenansville for the district tournaments and drive back that night. But when we went to the state, first year we went to Winston-Salem, the next year was High Point, the next year was Durham. Well, the town would shut down. People would just shut down and go and get a hotel room, and it was a big deal. But one of the things that, and I was telling JJ that my 2 sons and they were after me. They want me to help write a book about that period, because both of them are writers and they wanted to do it. And so I've been telling them stories all along. And well, one of the stories that my youngest son picked up on was when we were playing a game at home in Beaufort. And we would get ahead in the 3rd quarter or the 4th quarter, and we'd start pulling away. There was 1 or 2 guys that would stand up. And one in particular, I remember his name was Jack Sewell, would stand up and scream to the top of his lungs, "Pour it on!" And that would just electrify the crowd, and everybody would start screaming. So Charles said, that has to be the working title to this.
The name of the book.
Pour It On.
Pour It On.
That's a great title.
Before the hype music began, that was y'all's hype music.
Right.
Well, it's fun to have.
And I tried to find out if I tried to find Jack Sewell, I found out that his son had died. I knew him. They were in our church, and somebody said he had a daughter, but I haven't located her yet. See if she remembers any of that.
Okay. A lot of talent during that time period. You said German Holland went to Carolina. Did Monk Pittman go somewhere and play?
Lake Forest. Played freshman basketball and football.
Wow. You played at Carolina. Ray played at Carolina. Give us the breakdown of the Hassells. Who's who? We got Butch, Ray, Johnny, and you. Who's brothers? Who's cousins?
Hassell clan.
The Hassell boys, as they said back in the day, right?
Yeah. My older cousin, Butch was the first.
Okay.
Well, my sister died last year, and she was the oldest of the grandchildren of Lawrence and Jesse Hassell.
Okay.
And Butch was born in 1942. I was born, and his parents were Gray and Evelyn. And my parents were Charles and Virginia. My dad was the oldest of the Hassell brothers, who are our fathers.
I was going to say, y'all were all sons of Hassell men, right?
There were 3 of them living in Beaufort.
Okay.
My dad, and then Ray and Gray. Ray and Gray were twins. So Butch was Gray's child. I was Charles and Virginia's child. Ray was Ray's child, Ray and Virginia's child. Everybody married a Virginia or was named Charles. And Johnny was Gray and Butch's younger brother, Gray and Evelyn's.
So you're all cousins. There's no brothers in there.
We're all cousins.
How about that?
Butch and John were brothers.
Okay.
The oldest and the youngest.
Okay.
And so it was 1 year when all four of us were in high school at the same time.
How about that? All came up together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Butch was ready to play when he was a freshman and had a good Newport had a really good team then.
I'm a Newport guy, but
Are you? Good for you. And you might remember Berlin Temple.
Oh, wow.
Leston Gillikin, they had some really good players, and
I love to hear it.
we weren't strong enough yet. Butch wasn't quite strong enough to deal with Berlin Temple. He was strong and he could jump. And so they won the county. And in the next year, we won the county, got beat in the district tournament in Kenansville to Mount Olive. That was the last game we lost before the streak started.
How about that?
And then the next year, and the next year, and the next year, we've already talked about.
And Butch was kind of on as the kids say, he was these days. He was built different. He went on to Wake Forest and was all ACC.
Yes, he
Wake
was.
Forest.
He was the captain of the team when he was a senior. He was second team All ACC.
Wow.
And in a league that had some good players. That was the class with Jeff Mullins and those guys.
Wow.
And yeah, he had a very, very successful career. He was always a leader, a good leader. He was a terrific high school quarterback. He didn't much like the contact stuff, but he was a really good quarterback.
Led the 59 team to a state championship.
Yes. Nobody knew about David Jones until that season, and so when he went out for a pass and some defensive back would come up and try to run along with him, it didn't work. David was one of the fastest. I was telling him I thought David Jones and Ray Hassell were two of the fastest white boys in the state.
For sure.
When we were playing. And so I don't know how many touchdown passes he threw, 15 yards, but David was already got it and gone.
Butch set the county record for points in a game in 1960. Still has not been broken to this day. He scored 50 points and did that without playing in the second quarter and without playing in the fourth quarter.
Just because it was always poured on time.
Poured it on time.
Gotcha.
So first and third quarter, 50-point night.
That's insane.
That's pretty good.
Pretty good.
And you had a front row seat. You had a court seat to that.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of us played the whole game that night. But he didn't miss. He just couldn't miss.
Wow. Well, you were telling me earlier. Unfortunately for you, your career wasn't super smooth. Your sophomore year, you suffered a knee injury, right?
I did.
Yeah.
In the district tournament, and managed to recover enough to play the rest of the season, but then had to have surgery, and I ended up injuring it again after my first year in college, and so it was always a problem.
You said after the first one, cartilage stuff. You said you weren't really 100% after that, huh?
I played that following year, football season and basketball season. So, and that was my senior year was pretty amazing. I was telling him in addition to winning the state football championship, the last 4 games of that season and the first 9 of the next season, we were unscored on.
13 games in a row.
Which is still a state record.
And that's still a state record. Boy, the Beaufort crowd got some state records. Speaking of we're here at the Carter County News-Times building because you suffered that injury in the basketball season. You didn't get to play on the football state championship team, right?
No.
But you were the newspaper man covering it, as I understand.
I wrote up the games for the school newspaper.
A man after our own heart.
So I think I've seen a couple of those bylines.
Really?
100%. Let me see what I can find
Yeah.
while we're talking.
Yeah, but what was the name of the school newspaper? Do you remember?
Probably the Seadogs something.
The Seadogger.
There you go. There it is.
No.
I
don't know that they ever published that thing.
No, I think I've seen his byline in the News-Times as a special to the
Oh,
News
like
Times.
a special correspondent or something?
Yeah, a few years ago I went on a deep dive and started looking up all these old newspaper article. I saw pictures of the crowd that would be outside of that bus.
Yeah.
When McQuaid was doing.
I've got some of those.
I just love looking at those old photos, and I swear I've seen a couple of Hassell bylines. We're gonna find it real quick.
Okay.
Anyway, I was going to mention that, then we had that baseball team that
You were telling me.
so the upshot of that was my senior year. We had in football, basketball, and baseball. We lost one game
In the 3 sports.
in the 3 sports.
Lost to Moorhead in what? Football? Okay.
12-7,
Wow.
and 12 points is all the points that we gave up that season.
Wow.
Just to understand the impact of the Hassell family on Carteret County athletics. I'm on the website here for the digital version of the archives of the News Times from 1948 to 1963.
That is the Hassell era, right?
I've typed in Hassell. Each page has 20 entries, and each page is a different page of the newspaper that has the Hassell name in it.
20 on each page.
And there's 118 pages.
Wow.
Well, our dads were active in the local baseball, the semi-pro baseball
Sure.
leagues.
That's a lot of hassles.
Like the Saltwater League.
Saltwater one year was called the Tidewater.
Tidewater, yeah.
And there's some great stories.
So Hassell boys.
I was a bat boy.
Hassell boys, adult to young, were in the News Times playing some kind of sports.
Let me tell you this one. You won't believe this one. And I mentioned there was a 1933 high school football team that had never had a team before. That maybe somebody beat them, but they didn't lose but one game, if that. But the next year, Ray Hassell, all of 125 pounds of him, went to East Carolina and was on the football team. And second game of the season, the coach decided to let him play, and he started throwing passes from the halfback position.
This is the elder Ray Hassell.
This is Ray Hassell, Ray's dad. He was the generally regarded. There were 5 Hassell boys.
Okay.
And 4 of them were athletes, and Ray was generally regarded as the best.
Okay.
And he threw the first forward pass touchdown ever in East Carolina football history.
Wow.
At 125 pounds.
How about that?
He was fast.
Wow. So you all come from athletes, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Pud, you were a Moorhead scholar.
yes.
I know it. We're dealing with a smarty pants here.
I mean, I just typed in "by Pud Hassell" and there's 15 pages alone
Of Pud Hassell.
In quotations, yeah. Looking for a byline, but all of it's like a shot by Pud Hassell or whatever, yeah.
Scored by.
But that just brought me up to, I guess Larry McComb was the sports writer. Of
Yeah.
the time.
He called the football team the Tattered Champions.
The
about
tattered
that?
champions.
Yeah, because our uniforms were awful. They were falling, they were ripped and falling apart and sewn up.
Okay. So you go to Carolina as a Moorhead scholar, but you're going to play basketball.
Yeah, they wouldn't. I decided not to play football.
No. Especially after the knee injury, huh?
Yeah, when my sophomore year, after my sophomore season in football, Coach Tatum came to our banquet, our football banquet, Coach Jim Tatum.
Is that the Carolina coach?
Did you ever know about him?
No, that's the first time I've ever heard his name, actually.
He won a national championship at Maryland, and they brought him to Carolina.
Wow.
And he was building a program. And the summer after he came to visit us, he had got Rocky Mountain spotted fever and died.
Oh.
And so that was the end of that. But he came, and he sent his assistant coach down to see us play when I was a senior, and they wanted me to come out for freshman football, but I was scared after I had those injuries, and I wanted to play basketball, so I didn't.
Were you recruited by Frank McGuire at Carolina?
Well, could say that. I was going through the Moorhead thing, and I remember when I went up for my interviews and got to they put us up in the Carolina Inn. That was pretty fancy. Country boys like us.
For sure.
And I walked in my room, and there was this envelope on my pillow with this Carolina blue lettering on it, UNC basketball office, and it was a note from Coach McGuire said, "Hey, congratulations. I hope you do well. If you got time when you're here, come by the office." Well, I was there in 10 minutes. I couldn't get down there fast enough. Bet. And so he said, "Well, come in and sit down." So we visited for a while. He said, "Well, we're going to get ready to have practice soon. Come back for practice if you." So I came back for practice and was watching them. That was the year that Larisi and Mo and those guys were playing, the 61, spring of 61. And there was this guy over on the sidelines that had sweats on and everything, and he was sort of kind of tall, but he was sort of bent over, and he was really sort of pale looking, and I didn't know who he was.
Trying to keep a low profile.
I was trying to figure out who he was, and after a while, the coach said, "Okay, come on in." And so he came in the game, and he started jumping all over the top of people and knocking people out of the way. And I said, "Who the hell is that?" And the guy sitting next to me said, "He's going to be your teammate on the freshman team next year. That's Bill Cunningham."
Billy Cunningham, wow.
How about that?
Big time.
And I was telling him that when our freshman team was really pretty good, Billy flunked out of school halfway through, and we lost a couple of games at the end, but we were undefeated. And we had beaten Duke, and we'd beaten Davidson that had, when Lefty was there, and had Hassell and all those guys.
Now, who all from the county was on that team? Like that is UNC, right? We're talking
about Carolina freshman team.
Yeah, or even just in the program, the Carolina program. I mean, I know Llewellyn Phillips was also
Llewellyn Phillips was
he was the first county
played on the freshman team
to get a Moorhead scholarship. He was the second.
Oh wow!
Yeah. I mean, so I don't know if it was a new scholarship or what, or
no, it was just they didn't reach the poor counties very often back then. Then a guy named Lorenzo Lewis from Smyrna.
Okay.
Got one a few years after me. I knew him.
Okay.
And I don't know what's happened since then. I
was just curious about on that team when you were, I guess, freshman team or even the rest of the program. Were there other county guys there with you, and who those were?
I think Brady and Clem both played on the freshman team.
Okay.
Oh, before you?
After me.
Oh, after you. Okay.
Yeah.
And Chuck Lewis played on the freshman team, right?
He played freshman baseball. I don't know if
okay.
Then he went to UNCW after that.
I gotcha.
Did you play for Frank McGuire your freshman year?
No, he was gone.
Oh, Dean Smith.
I was sitting on my lifeguard stand over at Fort Macon one day, and somebody came up to me and said, "What do you think about your new coach?" I said, what the hell? Who are you talking about? He said, "Yeah, Frank's gone." I said, "Where'd he go?" He said, "Well, he's leaving."
Wow.
Some guy.
Well, who is the guy? He says, "Dean Smith." I said, "Who the hell is Dean Smith?"
How about that?
Wow. So I met him for the first time when we went to Greensboro for the East-West game.
Okay.
And there were three of us on that team that ended up being starting on the freshman team.
That's wild.
Bill Brown and Ray Rasmussen. I mean, and he came in the gym. He came in the gym at the practice and
at Beaufort.
No, in Greensboro.
Greensboro.
Paul Jones was our coach from Kinston, and which is another great story, by the way. And this guy comes in the gym, and of course the high school gyms were locked because we were having, all-star team practice. And everybody, who the hell is that guy? This guy came in, a short guy with high heel shoes and slick back hair, and talking to Paul. And I said, "Who the hell is it?" Well, Respus knew who he was because Respus had been recruited by him. He said, "That's Coach Smith." So we didn't even know who he was.
Wow.
He had come to the East-West game.
And Ray always liked to boast that he was the first recruit signed by Dean Smith.
Yeah, I don't know what it was.
Well, tell us, and so you played freshman on the freshman team, because back then freshmen didn't play varsity, right?
That's right.
And then the next 3 years you were on the varsity Carolina Tar Heels basketball team. Tell us about playing for Dean Smith.
I missed my sophomore year because of that injury. I got injured the summer before.
Oh, the second knee injury.
Working for a job that he got for us up in
to New York, you said?
Up in the Pocono Mountains.
Doing like a camp counselor.
Camp counselor.
Yeah.
And in fact, the camp director was Billy Cunningham's high school coach.
Okay.
And so I missed that my sophomore year, and I went back and made the team when I was a junior and a senior.
Wow.
And
that was before Dean Smith was Dean Smith, right?
Yeah, I was on the bus when they hanged him in effigy after we got beat at Wake Forest.
They were about to run him out of town, huh?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the Wolves were, and that's an interesting story. We had lost 2 or 3 games in a row, went over to Winston-Salem to play, and Wake Forest beat the hell out of us. And so we came back on the bus, and it pulled up. And he didn't ride on the bus in those days. And so we pulled up in front of Woolen Gym, and there was this dummy hanging there, and there wasn't anybody around, unlike what some people reported. There were throngs of people. There wasn't anybody there.
Oh, okay.
We couldn't figure out, never found out who did it. And Billy went up and snatched it down and threw it in the trash can. And it was in the news. It was in the Daily Tar Heel the next day about it happening. And our next game was the following Wednesday, or something. 2 or 3 days later, we had to go to Durham to play Duke. They were ranked 6th in the country, and we went over there and beat them.
Oh, there it is.
And
When it's all
Ray,
over.
that was Ray's finest moment. He played a really great game.
Yeah.
He started at point guard, played the whole game, had no turnovers.
How about that?
He only took 2 shots. He missed everything with one of them. But he played really good defense on Steve Vasendak or Bob Verker or one of those guys.
Uh-huh.
But we beat him, and a lot of people, looking
Yeah.
afterwards saying, we may not have saved his job, but we bought him some time.
Might have.
And we beat him again last game of the season that year, and that didn't hurt.
Yeah.
And then 2 years later is when he had, he had Bob Lewis, and then Larry came, and then 2 years later he got the group that really made that team great.
Okay.
Bill Bunning and Rusty Clark and Dick Grubar.
Well, if I was Ray Hassell and you and anybody on that team, I would have just went around the rest of my life saying I saved Dean Smith's job. There wouldn't have been no Dean Smith without me.
We told it. We gave Ray credit for that. Not for a lot of things, but we gave him credit for that. And it was. I mean, it was like we had no business beating them, but we did. Billy had a great game. I remember that.
The game that you had got smoked so bad by Wake, was Butch on that team?
Yeah.
Wow.
No. Butch was gone.
Okay. But you played against Butch in college, though,
Yes,
right?
we did.
But that was weird, playing against Butch, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Gosh, the talent back then. And was there any signs that Dean Smith was going to be who he became when early on?
We didn't know what to think.
Yeah.
We really didn't know what to think. He really was humorless.
Really?
Practices were not fun.
Sounds like Tom McQuaid.
Yeah, it was. I went, God, I've seen this movie. And we didn't quite know what to think.
Okay.
We didn't have we had no size. Billy was the closest thing we had to a big man. He was 6'4.5" maybe.
Okay.
I mean, he played like
Yeah, he could jump.
He could really jump.
Yeah.
And he was strong. So it wasn't until he got a legitimate big man, Rusty Clark, that we could really compete.
Yeah.
And we did hold the ball. I mean, it's the only chance you had against some of these teams that we played. And we had to play Duke with Art Heyman and Jeff Mullins, and it was slow going until he got the personnel. Because when he got the job, they paid him $9,000. He had no contract. His schedule was cut to 15 games. He could not recruit but 2 people outside the territorial limits of the Atlantic Coast Conference. This was all the de-emphasis stuff following the scandals, and when he got the job. And so that's how he had to start. So it was tough.
Wow. And you, I think I've heard you say over the years you stayed in contact. He was really good about being in the lives of his players.
When you're on his team, you're a production unit. The minute you're done, you're family. And that's not crap. That's the real truth. He's really been loyal, and he would send out the what do you call it? The annual
The program.
It's not
yearbook, I guess, or whatever you want to call it.
It's the PR publication.
Yearly program, yeah.
Out and he'd send
media guide or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, he'd send a letter and he would write something at the bottom of it.
To all his former players.
To all of his former
Wow.
former
That
players.
list got long after a while, I bet.
And believe me, people leaned on him. There were a lot of guys that, if they couldn't play basketball, they didn't have anything, they couldn't do anything. So they needed help all along, getting jobs, keeping jobs, whatever. And he was always there for them. And I was thrilled and honored. He asked me and Eric Montross and Jim Hudock and Joe Brown to set up a Letterman's Foundation and do the research and find out how the NFL did its program for dire needs people,
Okay.
former people. So
Down on their luck.
yeah, guys
Yeah.
that needed help with medical stuff or whatever.
Okay.
And he said, it's never been done in college. I think it could be done. Work on it. So we jumped right in. And little did I know, he had retired by then. And we didn't know anything about what was going to happen. So the last year or so that he was still lucid and had an opportunity, we had multiple meetings with him, had a chance to talk about all kinds of stuff, and got the thing ready to roll. And the athletic director came to me and said, we don't want you to do this. We're afraid it's going to violate NCAA rules. I said, Dickie, I know what I'm doing here. I've already been in touch with the rules people, and I have gotten a legal opinion that this.
And we should know here, you were a lawyer.
Yeah, and I don't think we're going to have a problem.
Right.
He said, well, I don't know. I've talked to Roy about it, and Roy doesn't really want to do it. And so Bill Guthrie, who worked with, and who was really, everything you've ever heard about him being a great guy is absolutely true.
Yeah.
He was wonderful. But he said, he called me one day. He said, well, let's look at it this way. He said, how would you like to join me as being the two guys that got the Carolina basketball program put on probation? I said, I don't think so. He said,
Maybe not for me.
no, let's don't do that, Bill. But anyway, so we never got the chance to implement it. But little did I know, soon after that, the coach started to fail, and we had a chance to meet with him a couple of times, but even then he was starting to lose his mental capacity some. So I was so lucky
Wow.
to have that opportunity to spend a lot of time with him the last couple of years that he was around. And he really did. He took, and part of the reason he did it was because, everybody had been leaning on him. He said, well, some of these, billionaires that have made money in the NBA, you need to get them organized so they can start picking up some of this.
Yeah.
So we did. We got this. I got the guy who was the head of the NFL. I went to a lawyers convention, and he was a speaker, and I walked up to him. I said, I've been trying to get some information from your office, and I can't seem to get it. And I'm doing this on a mission from Dean Smith. And he said, oh, really? What is it you want? And I told him, and when I got back to Raleigh, the stuff came in the mail. Everything about how they set their program up, phone numbers for people to call. And we had it all set up so that, nobody would get any money direct. You had to prove that it was for your medical expenses or whatever. Had to have a committee. It was all to be held. Wouldn't be announced who was getting what. It wouldn't be announced to anybody that was being recruited, so it couldn't be used as you come to Carolina, you don't have to do anything because once you graduate, they'll take care of you. But I found out also, I shouldn't be saying this.
Statute of limitations here. Be careful.
No, Roy had a situation in Kansas, and that's why he was a little scared of it.
I got you.
And we found out about that. So
and Coach Smith famously, when he passed away, what was it? He left every letterman a $200.
he sent us. We got a check from the lawyer for his estate, saying he wanted us to take our wives or girlfriend, whatever, out to dinner.
Yeah, was it $200?
$200.
$200 for every letterman he had ever coached.
Yeah.
In 36 years.
What year is this?
He passed away 15, I want to say. I think 2015, maybe. Yeah.
Years ago.
And you told a story about how he hooked you up with a Final Four ticket. You had one.
Yeah, I had managed to get one, and my my youngest son was, I don't know, middle school. They were getting ready to go. I said, Coach, I've only been able to get one ticket, and my son wants to go with me. He said, come on, we'll take care of you. So I got there, and he had a ticket for us.
Wow.
That was the year that we lost to Arizona, maybe.
Okay.
With the Bibby.
Mike Bibby,
young Bibby.
Miles Simon, that group. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to include this before we wrap up. Coach Smith was famous for his kind of activism back in the day, trying to integrate Chapel Hill with the restaurants. Took a black person to a restaurant. This is the time of Jim Crow and segregation, and he helped a black student try to get housing in Chapel Hill. And of course, famously, Charlie Scott was the first black player at Carolina. And then there was a guy named Melvin Cooper, who years before he had tried to get on the roster, and apparently he was on the freshman team. I think Ray said that you all played with him earlier on before Charlie Scott.
It wasn't Melvin.
No, it wasn't Melvin Cooper. I thought that was the name. Let me see if I've got that right. Willie Cooper. Willie Cooper
From Oak City or someplace
like
that.
And that was years before Charlie Scott. 2 or 3 years.
Yeah,
I think.
we were in school then. He was a year or so behind me.
So he was really.
I knew him.
He was doing his work, Dean Smith, trying to integration, trying to break that barrier in Chapel Hill.
One of the interesting things is growing up here, where you did, as you know, it was just separate.
Yeah.
There wasn't a whole lot of activity. There wasn't a whole lot of resistance. There wasn't a lot. It was just the way it was, kind of, when we were growing up.
Yeah.
And I had not, of course, begun to form any sort of political conscience when I was still in high school.
Right.
Mainly I was interested in sports.
And girls.
Girls. Yeah, we had the beach.
Lifeguard.
We had the pavilion and all of that.
Oh, yeah.
And so stuff was starting to happen in Chapel Hill when I was there.
Uh-huh.
Students for SDS, Students for Democratic Society, all were forming. There were people gathering, and civil rights things were starting to happen. But it wasn't that got me really to start thinking about the ignorance of racism.
Right.
It was the jocks. It was my basketball teammates, of all things.
How about that?
They were from New York, half of them, and they would say, "What's wrong with you people down here?"
Wow.
They called us grits. They would say, "Get over it. What are you talking about?" My best friends, Billy was on a high school team with 4 black guys, and they stayed at each other's homes and acted just like all of our friends would have.
Sure.
And I'm sure we would have if we'd had, if that had been the way things were. But but that sort of got me thinking more than anything else that was going on in Chapel Hill at the time,
your eyes,
which is ironic. I thought.
Well, and it's wild to think that you had all this success at Beaufort High School, winning these state titles and a winning streak, when just a few blocks down the street is a black high school, Queen Street, that was also having success. And, of course, you all never played because of the segregation at the time.
Well, we had an episode to happen. They had some really, really good teams. I remember my dad was a referee, and he refereed the Queen Street games.
Okay.
They played on our field on Saturday nights.
Okay.
In Beaufort, their home games. And,
football.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Bateman Jones was one of their quarterbacks, and he was really good. And there were a bunch of guys that got recruited to the Big Ten schools.
Yeah, they had to go play in the Big Ten in the Midwest.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And but they had a really good basketball team when I was a junior, I think.
Okay.
And somehow it came up that we ought to, and we knew the guys. We knew them because we would meet on the docks on Front Street behind the Sinclair station and swim together. So we knew each other. Okay. And I knew them because I'd go to their games. And Walt Bellamy was from New Bern. He came to Moorhead to play one time.
Walt Bellamy, wow.
Yeah. Tops 50 all time.
Yeah.
And anyway, we decided Joe Pasture was one of the guys that played, and he was 6'6". And Joe, why don't you get some guys and come to the gym? We'll play. So one Saturday, we went out and we played. We played all morning, we were having so much fun. Went and got something to eat, came back, played in the afternoon. Monday morning, we drive up to school and the police car's out in front. And didn't think anything of it. Went on in. The principal called me and Butch and some other guys to come to the office. Walked in and they were all sitting at a table, and the principal and the police chief and some other people, and they started quizzing us about what we were doing and saying things like, "Do y'all realize how much trouble you could cause?" And we're looking at each other going, "What? What is this?" And Butch had the presence of mind, as he always did, to say, "Excuse me, I think I'm going to go call my dad." And he stopped the meeting and went to the phone, called Gray, and Gray called my dad. And pretty soon they were all out there, and I don't know whatever happened, but we just left.
Wow.
We didn't ever hear anything more about it, but I was going, yeah, it's pretty much based on ignorance, you know.
Yeah.
That was one episode that caused us to sort of go, you people are crazy. Yeah, we don't have to be like that.
Yeah. Bud, thank you for coming in today and talking to us, man. We appreciate your time.
Yeah, we can't wait to hear more about it when you guys get that together.
When you get poured it on.
Thank you.